Welcome to Images in SoftChalk. In this lesson, you'll see three different methods to inserting or placing an image into a SoftChalk lesson. We'll take images that are local to our computer. We'll also use images that are stored in an image repository. And finally, we'll take images from Microsoft Word and bring them into our lesson. In this section, we're going to be inserting an image into a lesson. We place our cursor where we want the image to go. We then choose Insert from the menu bar and select Image from the drop-down menu. We then click on the Select Image button, navigate to where we have our images stored. Notice the types of images that we allow inside of a SoftChalk lesson. We then choose the image, click on Select, and it then tells us that the image is good, meaning that its size fits nicely in our windows. The next thing we'll look at are the image attributes, starting with alignment. We have, as we see, 5 different alignments. The alignments of none and absolute bottom are fairly similar. Left and right allows us to wrap text around the image, and top puts a line of text at the top of the image. Let's use the default alignment of none and see what it looks like. We'll click OK. Notice the line of text where the cursor was is at the bottom part of our image. Let's right mouse click on the image to modify it and change to the absolute bottom. That puts the bottom of the line of text in line with the bottom of the image. The rest of the image has no text around it. Let's change it to a top alignment. That puts the line of text at the top of the image with a lot of white space underneath it, and then the rest of the paragraph of text below it. Let's modify it one more time and change to our final alignment of left. Remember, that allows text to wrap around the image. And now we see our image with text wrapping around it. Let's modify it again. Remember, right mouse click and choose Modify. We're going to change the height of our image. Rather than 693, I'm going to change that and make it 350. Notice the width changes at the same rate. That keeps the image proportional to its original size. We can draw a border around it, and we can also change both the vertical and the horizontal spacing. They can be values from 0 through 30, and that represents pixels. That's both for the vertical space and horizontal space. We also can type in a long description to be used with screen readers. We then click OK, and we see the results of our inserting an image with text wrapping around it. Next, let's insert an image that's standalone. I don't want text to wrap around it. I place my cursor on a blank line. This time I'm going to click on the Image button on our toolbar. We'll select the image, navigate to where the image is stored, select it. It again tells me the image is good. I'm going to leave the alignment as none. I'm actually going to put in a border around this and again put in a long description. We then click OK, and our image is in our lesson standalone. We can modify its placement simply by clicking on the image and then choosing the alignment we'd like. I've put it at the center. Finally, let's put in another image in a final method. I'm going to place my cursor on a blank line, and this time I'm going to right mouse click. From the pop-up menu, I'm going to choose Image. Again, I want this image to stand alone, so I'll select the image, choose the image that I want, And notice it says it's not recommended. That means that it's too large to fit in our lesson. We should optimize. We don't have to, but look at what it now does. The image is probably going to be way too long to display correctly on our screens. So I've saved this and previewed it, and notice that I now have to scroll to the right to see the right-hand side of the image and down to see the bottom of the image. The entire image will not fit on the screen. Let's close our browser, modify the image by right mouse clicking and modify. We're back in SoftChalk, and we click on optimize. Now not only does that reduce the dimensions, but it also reduces the size of the image. I should put in a long description, and then I click OK. Notice how it now fits on my screen. In this section, we're going to be using a media search tool to insert a graphic. Sometimes when we want to place a graphic into our lesson, we may not have it locally stored. What SoftChalk has given you is a media search tool. Choose Tools from the menu bar, select Media Search. You then have a list of repositories that contain learning objects. If you choose a repository, the first time it will ask you or tell you you must agree to the licensing option of that particular repository. You click on I agree. Then you may also be able to configure that object by clicking on the Configure button. I'm going to search inside of Flickr. I then select Flickr. I then go to the Keywords line and type in Martin Van Buren or the text that I'm searching for. So we're now searching in two different repositories. We can change the maximum number of results from 25 to 50 to 75 or 100. I'll click on Search, and in a few seconds we'll see the results. I'll scroll down and find the object that I'm looking for. I can click on the line and it selects the object. To view it in details, we can click on the Details button and then click on the Image URL line. It shows us in a browser what the image looks like. We close the browser, we're back to Results Detail. We also can close that. We can also find the details by clicking directly on the image itself. To insert the image into our lesson, we select it and click Insert. The image is now completed. We see that. We click OK. Then we can close the Media Search dialog window. This image is ready for us to edit. We can modify the image, change the alignment. We can draw a border around the image. I'm going to put in a border width of 2. I also can type in a long description of the image. And then I also have the ability of resizing or of putting in a vertical spacing. I'm going to add vertical and horizontal spacing of 10. I'm also going to resize the image, and notice when I change the height, the width changes at the same rate. We then click OK, and there's our image. We also can modify the size of the image by selecting it, grabbing hold of a corner dot, and dragging. And there is our image from our Media Search tool. We have graphics already created in a Word document that we would like to use in SoftChalk. What we would do is just open the Word document. Now we cannot select the graphic and copy it because the graphic is actually anchored to a Word paragraph. So we need to select the paragraph that is anchored to that Word document. We can click on the graphic and look for the anchor and see which paragraph we need to select. We then select that paragraph, making sure the paragraph symbol is selected. We turned on the Show Invisibles to indicate that. Then we can copy. We can click on the Copy tool. We can do a Control-C or right mouse click and copy. That places all of that content on the clipboard. Coming into SoftChalk, we choose Edit, and we're going to paste. Of course, we can also do a Control-V or right mouse click and paste. And that will paste not only the graphic but the text that's included with it. The graphic formatting stays. Notice the text does wrap around the graphic. It can be modified by right mouse clicking on it, choosing modify. Notice the options that are there. Because there is white space around the image, I'm going to change the horizontal spacing. I'll also enter a long description, then click OK. And we have now placed our image from Word into our lesson. Now what about equations that we have in Microsoft Word? If we select all of the text that contains the equations, and then copy it, I'll again click on the copy tool, move into the SoftChalk program and then paste. I'll right mouse click and paste. Then the equations that came from Word are now graphics and or images, and I can modify them as you see. How about taking an equation from Word and making it an editable equation in SoftChalk? We'll go back into Word. First of all, we've selected the equation and gone to the Design Tools. We click on our Equation Options button and modify one of the equation options. We want to copy MathML to the clipboard as plain text. We then click OK. Select the equation and then copy it. I've right mouse clicked and copied. Come into SoftChalk, choose Insert Equation, then paste. I can do a Control V or right mouse click and paste. We then have our description box where we can enter a text description of that equation. That would be read by a screen reader, which makes the equation an accessible equation. We also can insert directly from the cloud. Choose Insert, select SoftChalk Cloud Item. Make sure that you are connected to your account. Click on it, Connect. Then click on the My Files folder, expand it, select the graphic you would like to use, and you have an option of viewing the graphic to see what it looks like. That opens up a browser window. You could then close that window, come back into the My Cloud, select the graphic, choose Insert. The graphic now is editable. Right mouse click and modify. We can add alternative text, long description, and alignment, border, and spacing. There is our graphic coming from the My Files cloud.